Yes, we're not acting like it's the first day. Welcome back, everybody. This is day like 4 or 5. I don't know. It took longer than it was supposed to, like everything does. But what ended up happening was after Zero and Brandon got the transmission on, they got it going because there's nothing wrong with the engine. We were just taking out the automatic, putting in the manual. Then Brandon took it for a rip. It felt good. He was heading home with the reminder to let the clutch break in, so no getting crazy. It's not Fast and the Furious until after like what, 500 miles or so. It's like a couple tanks of gas. But then the brakes locked up. Don't know what happened. So he was able to limp it back here. So now we're gonna take it for a little rip. Zero spent some time on this, diagnosing it to see what it could be, and we pretty much have it dialed down to either the brake master cylinder or the brake booster. That's what I was thinking of. Good. It's like someone just feeds me my lines when I can't remember. So let's give it a look. All right, here it is. It's like it's almost home, just sitting right here in the driveway. But look and see, everything looks good. Look at that. Like a little diamond in there, a blue, maybe ruby. But yeah, so transmission's in there. Everything's hooked up. We had all the right pieces, made everything work out for the best. But so coming over here, this is where we're at. And it was odd to me because like this came in, this was like at half, and then all around the booster it was rusted, and brake fluid is very corrosive, as we probably already know, which means that it just ate the paint right off that booster. So Zero spent some time diagnosing this, and he found that if he pulled off the hose that gives this vacuum to the booster, that the brakes unlock, because he left the e-brake off. And so as soon as he got to that point and did it, the front brakes released and it started rolling backwards. So we're gonna take it for a ride real quick, and we're gonna see what it feels like. We're gonna get Brandon's response, because if you've ever driven with manual brakes, you know it is hellacious. Like, you feel like the Flintstones. You have to stand with all your force to get this to stop. So let's go check it out. So I am precariously sitting in the back seat. This is hilarious. So automatic transmission is sitting shotgun, so it'd be easier to unload. Torque converter's here. You didn't put it in a bag or anything, so it's got a nice little puddle under it. I have no seat rest. Go ahead and fire this bad boy up. I got no seat rest behind me. Oh, that sounds gangster. So here we go. So go ahead and press down those brakes. Tell me what you feel about that. How's it feel?
More stiff.
All right, that's more stiff. Ladies like it that way, nice and stiff. All right, so we're pulling out of my driveway. Nothing too crazy, because I have no seatbelt back here. I have no back of my seat. Yeah.
I want to take that tint down because I can't see shit.
This? Bam. All right, full race. And Brandon says he's driven manual before, but there we go. It's in first gear. Oh, he's getting it. I don't think it's in gear. Oh, yeah. Oh, Jesus. I lived a good life.
Brakes.
So yeah, the brakes work. So we'll probably today switch out the brakes really quick. I'll probably however far we go, we'll probably park, and I'll try this bad boy out. I want to see what it feels like. But yeah, this is an Integra LS. Oh, Jesus. Did we not mention that we're breaking in the clutch, so no burning out?
That was an accident.
Oh, but you're still learning how to drive 5-speed. All right. So now we're going through a neighborhood with white folks, so where we should feasibly be quiet.
I did this the other day too.
Oh, okay. I mean, we couldn't have gone the way where there was no houses. This is up.
My family's car, house right there.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so, yeah, this is, you get a nice little tour of the town. This is the nicer side that I never drive in. It would take a long time for the cops to get out here. Just go straight. That's a dead end. But I mean, it's good to see that the car works, that the transmission shifts smoothly. Yeah. There's a lot of exhaust back here. If I pass out, you guys know why. Oh, there we go, some fresh air. All right, we're gonna, and so now we're gonna head back to the house. So we went for a quick drive in this, and it was crazy. And then we went for a quick drive in my car, just to get a quick lesson in rev matching, and just how to keep your car quiet, like when you're in a residential area, you know, just not to stand out and annoy your neighbors. So yeah, we're gonna throw on those new brake pads. I don't think it's gonna fix his issue, but the clutch is beautiful. It engages perfectly. It shifts smooth. So the transmission is all good. So us going through there and changing it, and it pulls really well because of the lock differential. So yeah, we're gonna pull these wheels off. I'll show you inside of there. There's a lot going on that needs some love, but this is one more maintenance step. I always tell people, whenever you get a new car, you don't know how well the people before you maintenanced it. And so that means you should go in there and buy one of those kits, those cheap ones from China for 80 bucks that have new ball joints, new tie rod ends, new sway bar end links, and just change all that. You know, make sure that it has the suspension you want and get it aligned, and your tires will last forever, because you're not going to be toe in or overly cambered, because all that stuff will be taken care of. And then you could start working on the fun stuff, like, I don't know, wings and aero and intakes and all that kind of fun cheap stuff that we start off with. But always maintenance first. Do the boring stuff first, and that way you don't run into problems like this. All right, here we go. The rotors seem nice and smooth, not too bad. Noticed that these were loose, so I just tightened them by hand. I didn't use the hammer because they're somewhat messed up, and so I don't want to like get him locked in there where he can't change his rotor later. Change out the pads real quick on this side. I'm doing the driver's side, he's doing the passenger side. Another view from under here. This engine mount is thrashed, which isn't really the biggest deal. Usually we don't even run these because we use stiffer engine, rear, and trans mount, so you can run up to 3 instead of the stock 5. But that maintenance kit would have new upper A-arms. You can get regular or adjustable ones that aren't all blown out. You can see these ones, sorry, let me get around here. These ones are like not that great. They move a bunch. The bellows on this are ripped. We know the whole rack and pinion is messed up. See, these could probably fare to be replaced, as well as that right there. If you're really getting froggy, I don't think compliance bushings go bad that this lower control arm connects to, but those can also be replaced. And we know this, if I can get a good shot, this lower ball joint is messed up. It even had to be cut to get all the bent threads off, so we keep that bolt in there and get a cotter pin in. So it's safe, it'll work, but this whole thing is blown out. Perfect. And other things, there's just a lot of oil. This has been sitting here for like 5 minutes. Sorry, messing up my driveway. You can see we've got a brand new Feld Pro, the fancy one with the metal strip in it. I love those ones too. They work really good, but he didn't use any silicone, so the oil is just kind of seeping past there. Same thing with the valve cover. It needs some love. So those are all like some of those maintenance things that you do straight off when you get a car. And then that thick line, that's just like a temporary fix to cap off those coolant lines that move ATF to the automatic transmission, because we no longer need those. And so it just cycles through itself. I don't even think it pumps, I think it just sits there. And then you can see that the radiator's not sitting in its mount because its bushing's all thrashed, but you can get new ones of those. I've bought them several times, usually pretty cheap. Just get the generic ones. It's rubber, it just needs to be there to keep that from knocking around. All right, and then we'll be back and he'll finish the other side. Then we'll get a quick look under, see if that side's any better. I did another video that showed how to change brakes. It's the same for an Integra. We were just changing the pads. So once we got the wheel off and the thing was jacked up, didn't even bother being safe with the jack stand, just left it on the jack, took off the two 12mm bolts, took the old brake pad and used a big C-clamp and pushed the caliper all the way in, but slowly, of course, to not reintroduce air into there, which I guess can happen if you're just cranking away like I was doing on the other side before I was warned not to do that. And then we replaced the pads, reversed the order, put everything back together, torqued the wheels down to 80. And so this thing should be good to run. So it'll still have that problem, but our goal here was to get the manual transmission here. So he's gonna have a blast. He's knows how to drive manual, but this is a whole new beast. But luckily Hondas are very forgiving, so we should have a good time with that. but he's gonna get some maintenance stuff. He's gonna do a lot of deep cleaning in here. This bad boy just needs some love and it'll run forever. And this was probably sitting about halfway when we started. Then we got the new pads in there. It's a lot closer to full, you know, by about like a quarter of an inch, but it's good. But yeah, so once this bad boy gets some love, it should be mean on the streets and this thing will be completely legal. Yeah. And then he also we got that rack and pinion that needs to go in. It won't go in today, but thank you for coming along with this ride. If you have any questions about this, I probably have some answers, because most things get swapped out. There's not a lot of things that you can reuse from the original automatic transmission. Like you need new flywheel bolts and pressure plate bolts because you had a flex plate and a torque converter, so it's not the same. I think they might be different lengths, so you can order those. I actually ordered a set because I needed it for one of my builds. The right T-bracket, because the manual T-bracket is different, and so is that rear mount, so get both of those. If not, just get all new mounts, because if you're doing something like this, your car is probably 30 years old or older, and it's probably never been done from the people who had it before you. So go in and take care of that. And then the top trans mount, it'll be a different one that converts from an automatic chassis to a manual transmission and an automatic chassis. I showed that in, I think, video number 1 and maybe number 2. I think I showed it in both. What else do you need? You need that right intermediate shaft, the manual one, as well as the shouldered bolts can be reused because they are the same. The bolts that hold the intermediate shaft, and then the corresponding manual axles. And then, of course, the manual transmission, clutch, flywheel, and you replace all the bearings. And then you'll also need to get a clutch master, a clutch slave cylinder, and that's also a great time to upgrade to one of these nice stainless steel lines. You can see his goes through right there, down to the slave. And then, too, if you really want to get fancy like Brandon did, you can go with the S2000 style one. It'll have the booster down here instead, or the reservoir will be down here instead of the stock one. You'll have a hose that comes up and the reservoir will bolt right here. So either one works. All right, see you next time. We got a lot of work to do.